Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. We cover the stories both big and small, the epic and the cute, the silly and the tragic. I hope you all enjoy the ride, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. Out in Old Da, a panicking guy is looking for someone who can fight because his boss is being threatened by a group of criminals called the Lemures. They call their leader the Reaper, and she wants a lot of money from the man, or she'll do some bad stuff to him, so they want to hire you to keep that from happening. The Warrior of Light is not one to pass up easy money, so she heads to the Sapphire Avenue Exchange to meet up with a very skittish Lalafell. At first he thinks you're there to rob him, but when he finds out that you're there to help, he lets you know that the Lemures are forcing him to pay money so they won't kill him. He doesn't know where they came from, but they don't follow any law but their own, and their leader is a scythe-wielding murderer who shows up right on cue with two of her lackeys. Turns out the story the Lalafell was telling you was a whole pack of lies. The Lemures aren't there to rob him at all. They were coming to collect payment for a job they did for him. The Lalafell was trying to pay you to deal with the Reaper so she couldn't collect her much bigger paycheck. But these Ul'dah Lalafells are always doing some underhanded stuff. The Reaper's not one to shy away from shady business, so she can understand the scheme. It's just unfortunate for the Lalafell that he got caught. Lucky for him, the Reaper sees that you're far more than just an average bodyguard, and she decides to let the Lalafell off the hook if he lets her hire you. Of course he agrees, so your contract with him is transferred to the Reaper, who invites you to her base nearby so she can let you know about some work that she has for someone with your skills. The Reaper has heard of you. Not many people in her line of work don't know about the savior of Alamigo. Fighters and mercenaries tend to know about the more dangerous members of their organizations, but she didn't invite you there to try to take out her competition. Her name's Drusilla, and she brought you there to help her with a job. It's nothing illegal. She wants you to help her kill a dead man who's been taken over by a Voidsent, a powerful one that enjoys eating the souls of its victims, and it's eaten a lot of them, which is why she decided to recruit someone like you. Thing is, with your current techniques, you won't be able to fight this thing. You need to be able to cut through the void if you want to hurt this Voidsent, so you need the techniques of a Reaper. To fully understand, you'll need to know who you're dealing with, so Drusilla reveals the fact that she's a Garlean. Before she wastes time telling you more, she tosses out a strange soul crystal to see if it resonates with you. When you reach out to it, a monster that Drusilla calls an avatar appears. It's a visible manifestation of your essence merged with the power of a Voidsent. It'll give you the power and skills that the people of Drusilla's order have been using for generations to hunt down evil. You'll get the knowledge and skills of generations of Garlean assassins if you have the nerve to make a pact with the Voidsent. It's a permanent decision. You can't just sever this bond all willy-nilly, so of course the Warrior of Light doesn't hesitate to do it. The Voidsent doesn't fully cross over to your world. You draw its power from the void through your avatar, and when you kill things, your avatar transfers the souls back to the Voidsent on the other side, which isn't a bad deal, plus you get a scythe. Now that you've taken on your new role, Drusilla figures that the best way for you to learn how to use those new powers is by using those new powers. A member of her family is having trouble with a monster, and he needs some help dealing with it. He's not blood, but everyone Drusilla takes under her wing becomes a part of her family, and not all of them are fighters. Arnagus is waiting outside of Cutter's Cry, and what he lacks in combat skills, he makes up for in his knowledge on ways to make money. Whatever he was doing out there was likely gonna make a whole lot of profit, but it won't if he's eaten, so the two of you head to Cutter's Cry to see what the problem is. Arnagus is another Garlean, and he's not all that trusting of strangers, but since Drusilla vouches for you, he immediately opens up, which shows how much respect he has for her. A Chimera has been causing him problems since his trade route cuts through Cutter's Cry, and since none of his men are really equipped to deal with that sort of thing, he called Drusilla. This is right up your alley, so you head into Cutter's Cry to deal with the Chimera and to learn how to fight with your avatar. It doesn't take long for you to get the hang of it, and with all the smaller creatures you slaughtered bleeding all over the place, you draw out the Chimera. It's not a hard fight, but it does give you the chance to learn how to be a Reaper. Adding that to your considerable combat knowledge, you manage to impress Drusilla to the point where she thinks she might have a hard time matching you in a battle. With the Chimera down, Arnagus is proud to say that his ceruleum trade will be able to pick back up. One of the things he does is sell ceruleum, and since he has it at a price that's to die for, he can barely keep up with the demand even though he's able to get it straight from Garlemald. The best part is they're not doing anything illegal. Selling goods to the Empire is illegal for Eorzeans, but there's no law against buying stuff from them. Not all Garleans are bad. They do have a lot of psychos in their homeland, but not even all of the purebloods are power-hungry maniacs. Some of them don't have a choice but to serve the Empire. A lot of the troops stationed all over the place would much rather be at home with their families than fighting and dying in foreign lands, but most of the people in Eorzea don't care enough to find out anything about the Garleans. However, since you're fighting with them, Drusilla figures that you should know a little more about the people you're working with. You'd think that after working with Cid, Gaius, Maxima, Nero, and a whole lot of other Garleans, the Warrior Light would at least understand that the entire race isn't insane, but sometimes the same lesson has to be learned more than once. Long before the Empire was founded, Drusilla's ancestors lived in a place called Locus Amonis, down in southern Ilsabard. The land was fertile, so most of them were simple farmers harvesting crops with the scythes that eventually became the weapons of the Reapers. Of course, when people see that you have something nice, they tend to want it, so our ancestors were constantly attacked and forced off of more and more of their land, until 800 years ago when they were driven out of Locus Amonis altogether. They had to flee to the north to the frozen land that would eventually become Garlemald. They had to fight the harsh land for resources, but they eventually built the first bits of Magitech, and the Empire was born. Their lack of magic made survival hard, so they had to come up with something to give them an edge. So they made pacts with Voidsent. That power gave them what they needed to destabilize entire armies by assassinating their leaders. That way they could stop wars before they even started, and that's the people who you signed up to be a part of. With the Chimera dead and the history lesson over, you and Drusilla head back to the headquarters in Ul'dah where she tells you the rest. The Lemures are made up of Garleans who live in exile. Being far from home is hard for them, especially when they're in a place where everyone wants to kill them. Drusilla doesn't expect you to treat them like family right away, but she does expect you to put effort into your job because there's a specific target that she's after, and it's dangerous. Half doing these types of things will get you all killed. Her people have been hunting for signs of her target. One of them is Arnegus, who you've met. The other is Ermin, a very hyperactive young lady. They're after a Voidsent called Orcuse. He's been able to evade some of the best trackers, but after looking into some missing person cases and unsolved murders, the two of them found something that looks promising. A woodcutter in the Black Shroud disappeared without a trace, and there were sightings of a pale stranger who had eyes the color of blood in the area. That sounds like your target, so it's a good lead that should be followed up on. But Ermin doesn't see why they need help from an outsider for just any old Voidsent. Drusilla understands why she'd feel like that since she never saw Orcuse in action, but Drusilla's real family was killed by the thing, so she knows firsthand how powerful it is. That was before she started the Lemures, and she had made a promise to herself that she'd stop Orcuse for good. If she needs an outsider's help for that, then so be it. So Arnegus leads you and Drusilla to the Shroud, while Ermin stays in Ul'dah to see if she can find out anything else. Drusilla hands you two things, a Magitech communication device, and a candle that smells like enough blood to draw all the Voidsent in the area once it's lit. The communication device is so if Orcuse shows up, you can call for help because that is not a Voidsent you can beat on your own. It's feared from Garlemald to Girabania for a reason. He may look like a normal man, but don't let that fool you. If you do, you're liable to be eaten before you realize your mistake. After doing some searching around, you draw out a Voidsent, but it's not Orcuse, so it easily falls to your side. The Voidsent was carrying a ring, which makes Drusilla think that it's the same one that killed the woodcutter. She found the man's body in a shallow grave while she was hunting for the Voidsent, and he was missing a ring from his finger. Voidsent like shiny things, which could have been the reason it attacked the man in the first place. Even though you didn't find Orcuse, taking care of the other murderous Voidsent is still something to be proud of, so Arnegus goes to let the Woodwellers know while you and Drusilla head back to your base. She was really hoping to find Orcuse since the thing has been causing her problems for 20 years now, but you can only do what you can. There are still other leads to follow, and Ermin and Arnegus are in the process of doing that as we speak. Arnegus is supposed to be heading back to the base with some new information, but he's taking a while, so there's nothing to do but wait. You'll be waiting for a long time, because another member of the Lemures comes rushing in to let you all know that Arnegus has been murdered. The Brass Blades found him half buried, so they're bringing him to the burial chamber in Ul'dah. Everyone takes this hard, especially Drusilla, but she forces herself to go look at the body. He's so badly mangled that she doesn't let you look at him, but from what she sees, she knows that Orcuse killed him. She has one more duty to take care of, and it's one of the things that no commanding officer ever wants to have to do. She has to tell the man's wife that he's died. His wife doesn't blame Drusilla at all. She remembered when the Garleans reclaimed Locus Amonis 10 years ago and Arnigus had been given a post there. It was good until he realized that the Garleans had enslaved their former enemies since they were the descendants of the people who had stolen the land from them in the first place. Arnigus didn't like what happened there, so he started working with the resistance. He got found out, and he and his wife were forced to run away. She'd always known it would happen one way or another, and when it did, they fled to Razatin, then to Limsa. Their luck went bad there too when they were accused of being Garlean spies, so they ran again until they ended up under Drusilla's wing. She did good by them, so Arnigus' wife would never blame her for what happened. But she does want Drusilla to get revenge. With all that's happened, Drusilla decides that it's time to tell you everything about her battle with Orcus started. She thought just having more people would let her deal with Orcus, but since she got Arnigus killed by keeping secrets, she's not going to make that same mistake twice. The Voidsent you fought in the Shroud was one of Orcus' minions. She should have known that since it tried to hide its victim's body, which is a very un-Voidsent-like thing to do. He's used that trick before, and he knows that Drusilla knows it. Since she was on his trail, he killed Arnigus as a warning. He doesn't kill people fast. He likes to torture them, which is how she knew that Orcus had killed the man after she saw his body. He'll likely be coming for you or her next, after he lets you squirm for a little while. Never knowing the moment of his attack is meant to make you more afraid, then he can strike. Drusilla doesn't want to wait for his next attack. She wants to take the fight to him, and the Warrior of Light is willing to follow her. That dedication makes her fully accept you into her family. Hearing her say that out loud makes Orcus appear, and he lets you know just how close he and Drusilla are. She's his granddaughter, and since she didn't take the hint and stop following him, he decides that he'll need to kill someone else to get her mind right. Drusilla attacks him, but he easily dodges her since she's older and weaker now, but he thinks that you might make a good meal, one that he may actually decide to save her for once. He'll wait until you're fully ripe, then he'll feed, so you have a little time to worry, just like Drusilla said you would. When he leaves, she is well aware of the fact that you have questions, but she'll answer them when you get back to headquarters. Orcus had once been her grandfather, even though he looks young enough to be her grandchild now. That has something to do with his powers after fully being taken over by the Voidsent, and his appetite for ether might play some part in that too. He seems to have sensed something he really liked in your soul, which is pretty much par for the course for you. Drusilla has more to tell you, but she wants to check on the rest of her family first to see if Orcus has been hunting them, so the two of you split up to check on the others scattered around the area. One of her people did see Orcus grinning at him. He had thought the man was going to kill him, but the Voidsent vanished without doing anything. After getting to see more of Drusilla's family, it's a miracle that they survived for so long considering how most of them aren't fighters of any kind. She didn't gather them because of what they could do for her though. She got them to help them get from under the boot of the Empire. People deserve the right to choose how they live, and under the Empire there aren't that many choices, even though some people are tricked into believing that they have freedom through their faith in the Empire. That faith can be used to make people do all types of things, including going to war with people who have never done anything to them. Emperor Solus Zos Galvus had used that faith to rile up the people and turn their desire to reclaim their homeland into a holy mission to spread enlightenment to the savages, which put them at odds with all other people and beastmen alike, and led to the slaughter that built the Garlean Empire. Some people thought that it was a good thing, but people like Drusilla's grandfather saw the true tyranny that was leading their people. The Reaper powers were passed down through the bloodlines of the original Reapers. Voidsent pacts don't necessarily end until the actual Voidsent is killed, and Drusilla's grandfather Rulus was one of the most powerful members of the Order. The Reaper's job is to protect the people from their corrupt, power-hungry tyrants, so Rulus decided that he needed to kill Solus. But there's a problem. Solus was Emmett Selk, and since you know who and what he is, you know that killing him is not something that's easily done. 20 years ago, Rulus tried to do it. He obviously failed, and when he came back, whatever he had seen had turned his hair white. He didn't say much about the fight other than the fact that Solus wasn't human, but he changed after that. The defeat made him look for more and more power, which caused him to give more of himself to the Voidsent that fueled his avatar. Eventually Orcus attacked and consumed Rulus, destroying everything that had once been Drusilla's grandfather before taking his body. Now being fully in your world, he began to feed on all of Drusilla's family. He got her too, but he didn't drain her soul, he ate her avatar. After that meal he couldn't eat anymore, so she escaped. But since her grandpa had tried to kill Solus, she had to run away because the man was not going to let her live after what happened. She wandered around for years after that until she found others who had defected from Garlemald. The name Lemures is what lost spirits are called in Garlemald, which is why she named her group that. The name fits since her people woke up from the empty, dead life they had in Garlemald to live again as something new. While you're all standing around trying to figure out when Arcuse plans on attacking again, he appears in the room and snatches Drusilla. He wants to kill her, but seeing how you've grown closer to the old woman, he thinks making her suffer will make you taste all the better. So he takes her away so you can chase after them, knowing that every moment you take to find her is time he gets to spend removing body parts. Ermin immediately sends her people out to try and find where Arcuse has taken Drusilla. It doesn't take long to find out since the Voidsent sends a letter written in Drusilla's blood saying they're in the Dusk Vigil. Ermin gathers everyone she can, but for a battle like this, they just die. This is a job for Reapers, so you're going alone. Ermin doesn't like it, but she finally agrees, although she does tell you to at least bring Drusilla's scythe with you. When you get to the vigil, you see Drusilla laid out on the floor, and of course Arcuse appears in between you, ready for dinner. The Voidsent is extremely powerful, and while you put up an admirable fight, when he gets serious, you're outmatched. But Drusilla's not as dead as he thought, so you throw a scythe to her, and the two of you get to work putting an end to the Voidsent that terrorized the woman's family for years. When you bring him down, Drusilla finally lands the finishing blow, removing Arcuse's head. Successful, the two of you head back to headquarters, where everyone excitedly greets you both and celebrates your first successful mission as a Reaper. This concludes the story of the Reaper. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and share this video with your friends. And if you want to buy me a coffee for my work, sign up to become a member of the channel. Until next time, guys, later.